Okay. So moving on to look at s- some more general aspects of major issues on wireless. You know, inevitably, when we've had problems and the network services guys or myself have been called out, uh, we've usually come to the conclusion that the problem lies on the Windows devices and not with the network itself. So we had the two biggies, which were the 5430 problem and the no logon servers available. You're probably all aware of the 3150 profile size problems. That was two things really. Uh, an unfeasibly large profile, which was being installed per user every time that user logged on to a device, and also a significantly undersized SSD in the 3150s. I think it was something like 64 gigabytes, which is fine, but it's not fine for Windows. Um, there seem to have been driver issues, and I put fill in the blank because we've had Windows issues, and I have no expectation that that will not continue to be so. Anecdotally, I was talking with Nuno Saramago, who's an elementary school tech. I think it's Grove Park, and he was telling me that he had gone back from 2010 to 2000 to Windows 7 because he was having a lot of wireless issues on 2010. Um, Windows systems are complicated. It is a full-featured operating system with a tremendous amount of flexibility so that you can add in all kinds of programs and all kinds of hardware with the drivers that come with it. And you've got the operating system itself being constantly updated. We are putting policies in effect. We have antivirus software. So it's in a constant state of turmoil and flux. And it's hardly a surprise to see that we have issues with it. So while the endpoint would almost certainly strongly disagree, um, my advice to people who want reliable wireless is to look towards the Chromebooks. You are the guys who are using the Chromebooks in schools, so you will have a better opinion as to their suitability beyond simply their wireless reliability. But I think it's quite important, and I am certainly strongly advocating for the supplanting of Windows as the operating system of choice for laptops and supplanting it with the Chrome OS on the Chromebooks. Okay, that said, we have to be careful of not falling into the trap of always assuming that Windows is the problem. We have had a lot of situations and a lot of problems where the access points have needed to be rebooted. I would suggest that those problems are more likely to be uh, when there is an issue across a whole population of clients, but that's not necessarily always the case. Um, it's possible that you might find that you've only got some clients giving you a problem, but that the issue can be resolved with an access point restart. Um, we have started to get on top of that because there hadn't been a policy in place to make sure that access points were never up beyond a certain time. And we have made some changes such that we can easily reboot large numbers of access points on a schedule. And the target is to make sure that access points are not up beyond something like 4 months. I mean, that said, we've had access points that have been up for a year and have been working fine. So uh, they are reliable, but it's just there's no point taking the risk that a problem could be caused by an access point that's been up too long. So we should just regularly reboot them. Another potential source of problems is something that I'd certainly seen this year during testing is proxies. We can, on occasion, have one of the proxies in our proxy farms uh, be underperforming, be broken in some way or another. And that will manifest itself in perhaps a handful of students in a class having issues. I've seen it during testing from 3150 laptops which have a good Windows adapter, and if they've connected to wireless, you can pretty much assume that they shouldn't have problems moving forward. So if you're seeing a handful of devices with problems, my recommendation is that you run speed test on them, because speed test tells you which proxy they're using. And if you notice that they're all showing to be on the same proxy, then you need to get in touch with the SRC as a priority, because if there's a bad proxy and we've not picked up on it, we need to be told. That said, we're expecting to get much better at being able to pick up on bad proxies with some measures that we'll be taking over the summer. Now, a little aside, one of the frustrations for school techs and for staff is when they tell us they have a wireless problem, and I walk in, or one of the network services guys walks in with our laptops and our phones, and we immediately connect to the wireless access point in the room and run some speed test to show that the access point is running gangbusters. Pronounce that the problem is not with the network, and walk out, leaving them with laptops which still can't connect to the network. And what we are actually going to do is we're going to refer the problem over to the endpoint team, suggesting that we believe the problem is with the endpoint, and get back in touch with us. What I've been looking at is, the notion that what we're saying would have a lot more credibility if we were able to show school techs and staff that their hardware devices also don't have a problem connecting to the network. And that would really underline the notion that the problem lies with the Windows operating system. And so I've been working on a bootable Linux USB stick that you can plug into any of our laptop models, get the system started, connect to wireless, run a speed test. So I guess I would say watch this space. The one thing I've found out is that all USB sticks are not created equal, and it's very important to make sure you've got a high performance USB 3 stick that has a high write speed. But that's something that I'm working on, and at some point I think this might be a tool that I would like to put in the hands of school techs so that they could walk out to a classroom, to any particular laptop that is having a problem, plug in this USB stick, boot it up, and determine that there is no issue either with the hardware or with the access point in the room. Okay.